Hello?
Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? Can you guys all hear me good?
Very good.
Awesome. Let's get started here. I need to go live on Facebook. Let me get that set up for just a second. All right. Awesome. All right. Hey, how's everybody doing? First things first. Make sure you're all signed up for Elephant Challenge coming up. It's next week. Hey, Dawn, I see Dawn in here. Awesome. I am going to make Dawn co-host so she can help me with admitting people. I appreciate that. I want to take a minute and yes, Elephant Challenge is starting next week. Please sign up for that. I'm looking for April. Where's April? There's April. Okay, how do I? There we go. Awesome. Give me just a second. I'm still having some issues with my screen for some reason. All right. April had some questions about comping, which I'm happy to do. So yeah, first off, make sure you all sign up for Elephant Challenge next week. The place to go to do that is pacejmorby.com/invite. There was a new link sent out, so check your emails for that, check your spam folders. A lot of people are signing up for it, so they're just making sure that they have enough bandwidth to support all those people. And that's all the announcements I have for now. I am going to pull up April. Let's see. April, can you hear me?
Hi, everyone.
Hi. Awesome. Now I can hear you. Now I can see you. Talk to me. What's going on?
Actually, the property that I wanted to see about comping is already no longer available, but I do have another question about that. So, when you're prompting or when you're trying to see if it's a deal, how do you get the ARV if you unless you actually go out there? So, I mean, I imagine that not everybody goes out to all the properties that they get. So if you don't know what the repairs are, how do you estimate that, or how do you get that number to figure out
Okay,
if it's a
so,
deal?
so are you searching properties through Privy?
Prop stream. And I have
PropStream.
Privy too, but I don't know, prop stream seems a little easier to navigate. I haven't taken any lessons on how to use Privy yet.
Yeah, so, I'll back up a bit, okay? Elephant Challenge is basically looking for on-market properties. So listed properties on the MLS,
Caroline, how's your
and
evening
then
going?
taking those,
Good, glad to hear it. I appreciate you answering my call. I just tried to call you.
I think that's done. I'm gonna mute everybody. Okay, and then what you do is you take those on-market properties and you start there with comping them. Elephant Challenge likes to use Privy because it's actually a really powerful software for, doing what it's designed to do. Now, it won't do things like skip trace and that sort of thing, but where it has access, it's very good. So you're in San Antonio, right?
I am.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Privy does not have good MLS access in San Antonio. It has the same access that PropStream does, that third-party publicly
Mhm.
available data that's available to everyone. So it
Yeah.
does have that. So, were you part of Elephant Challenge?
I'm signed up to do the
You're signed
one
up
at
for
the
the
end of the
next
month.
one.
Yeah, I
Okay,
just kind of wanted
fantastic.
to sit in, and since we had messaged earlier, I thought.
Of course, no
I'd ask.
problem. So
But you
yeah,
don't have to spend time on that. I was just.
no, I'm happy to comp, and it's gonna lead me to where I wanna go, for tonight. Do you have any properties that you want to look at?
I just have that one. We can look at it though. I know that it's.
Absolutely, sure. Tell
awesome.
me about it.
Okay, it's a. What do you need for you to information for me? The
I need 1 second so I can pull up my screen. All right, can you all see this? Can you all see my screen?
we can see it.
Awesome, okay. So tell me the address of what we're looking at.
5219 Grove Hill Street,
Grove,
Grovehill.
Grove Hill in San Antonio.
Correct.
So this is an off-market deal.
It is.
Okay. It's in Woodlawn. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go search for some properties in Woodlawn, just so we can kind of have a, something to play around with, okay? So here's Woodlawn, and here's all the properties that are kind of matching what we're looking for. Do I still have, I thought I reset this. I thought I did. Okay, so when you have an on-market property like this, for example, I'm interested in this property, right? Do you have a piece of paper and a calculator in front of you?
I do.
We're gonna work through this, okay? I've been in this market long enough to know that a 3-bedroom, 1-bath in San Antonio, this is severely overpriced. Now, it does depend on, it might not be if it's in good condition. So we're gonna take a look and determine that. Oh, hold on, I keep forgetting about the chat, you guys. I am so sorry. This whole multitasking thing is, okay, hello, everyone who said hello. James, no problem, man. Do your work, and then I'm happy to have you pop in. My tooth is much better, not 100%, but much better. And hello, everyone else. All right. So, I see this external listing. I want to look at that external listing. Okay, so you tell me, okay, how does this property look to you? Does this property look like it's something that is retail friendly? Would you move into this property? So when we say retail ready, what we mean is this property is in fixed up condition and it's ready to be moved into by like an end buyer family, right? Are you married? Do you have kids or anything like that?
Kids, I have kids.
Okay, would
Two
you move into a
toddlers.
house like this? Awesome. I have a 10-year-old and a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old.
Hmm.
So just going through these pictures, do you think this is a house that would be good to move into for you and your family?
It probably wouldn't be preferable, but it could be fixed. I guess.
It could be fixed, right?
Mhm.
So, but in the current condition, this is not a
Mm-mm.
retail end
Gotcha.
buyer type of property, right? This
Right.
is a property that a fix and flipper would prefer. This is for a fix and flipper, right?
Mhm.
You couldn't live in this and then
Fix it
you
up
know,
while you're living
fix
it.
it while you're living. There's too much going on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're tearing out floors probably. Maybe in some of the rooms it's salvageable. This is, 20 years old,
Yeah.
okay? Now, looking at this, is there good things about it? So I would say there's some decent things about it. Clearly the yard needs work, right?
Mhm.
Clearly there's lots of yard work that needs to be done. This needs work. The
Mhm.
floors need to be torn out. Maybe not a lot of work on the walls, they're looking in decent shape. Windows, those are single pane aluminum frame windows. Clearly those need to be replaced. Okay.
Right.
Here, perhaps you can save some of this floor and get some of these, sanded down and fixed up for sure. Not a lot. So in other words, this probably isn't a gut job. We're not gonna go in and tear all the drywall off the walls and stuff, but it definitely needs to be renovated. You see where I'm going with that?
Mhm.
Nor is it a lipstick repair
Yeah.
where all we're doing is painting and carpet. So we're somewhere in the middle of that, right? Total gut job on one hand, lipstick job on the, we're somewhere in the middle. So what we do is we have a little, where's my chat? Okay. Do you guys remember what the numbers are for rehabbing? If you guys remember what the numbers are, put them in the chat. Pace, what was paces? I found paces and I want to put that in here. Paces 15 steps to comping. So here's some numbers. I'm gonna put this in the chat for you guys. Make sure you take it down, okay? Let's go back to my screen that I'm sharing with y'all. All right, I just dropped it in there. So we're not talking about a gut job. We're not talking about lipstick, right? Somewhere in the middle. So we're talking about maybe about $40 a square foot, give or take, right? So this house is how much? 992. Okay, so on your paper and your calculator, 992 times 40.
39,680.
Okay. Next down, you see where it says number 9, determine exterior landscape costs. All we're gonna do is freshen it up. So add 5,000 to that. Okay. Number 2, we're not doing an addition on this. A 3-1 is what we're gonna leave it at. We're gonna add the reno up, so the exterior and interior, and we're gonna add another 15%. So how much did you add up so far?
44,680.
44,680. Let's call it 55,000 just to be safe. Would that seem like it's okay?
When you say add the reno up, was that to that number? Add 15% to that
So-
number?
Yeah, so
Oh, okay.
add the square footage plus the exterior freshen up of 5,000. Come up to a number and then add another 15%. It's not like, this is not Bible here. It's not, has to be 15%. Sometimes
Oh,
it could be
that's-
10%, sometimes it could be 20%, whatever. You know, I am pretty good with, because I come from a trade background and I'm an electrician and I have done lots of renovations and that sort of thing. I know how much costs are gonna be. If you're, so I could drop that down a little bit. But if you're never done a flip before, or you're not comfortable with it, add 20% or something. You get what I'm saying? It's not
Mhm.
in stone, okay? So that gives us a rough idea of what our total budget should be for rehab, which is how much? Do you have that number? Somewhere around
51,000?
55,000. 51,000, okay.
Mhm.
So let's keep that in mind, okay? That's our rehab costs, right?
Okay.
Our scenario right now is that we found this house, it's on market, we want to wholesale it. That's what Elephant Challenge is all about. We're trying to find on market prices, houses, we're trying to get them at much lower prices than what they're advertised at. And we're trying to make a commission there, a little spread between what we can lock it up for and what it'll sell for. Is that clear?
That's clear.
Okay. So if you found this house that's 120, 130,000, let's say, and you brought it to me as an end buyer, and you're like, hey, I found this house, it's 130,000. My response to you be like, who cares? Why would I need to pay you a finder's fee when it's already $130,000? I can get it myself directly, right?
Mhm.
But let's say you, because you hustle and you do a good job, you can get, and you want, let's say a $10,000 assignment fee. And you lock up this house at 119,000 and you bring it to me still at 129,999. Is there value there? No,
No.
it's still the same price, right?
Mhm.
I need it if you're gonna bring me something that's on market as an end buyer, you need to bring me something that's severely discounted from that list price. So if it's at 130, but you're bringing it to me at 110, I'd be interested. If you're bringing it to me at 100, I'm much more interested now. You understand?
Mhm.
So you have to you have to provide value by bringing it to me at a discount plus your commission. So you're gonna have to get it way under than that $130,000. You understand where I'm going with that?
Yes, sir. Got it.
Okay. So we figured out our rental budget. Let's try. Okay, I'm trying to move all the little faces because my screen is not big enough. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to find out how much this property is actually worth. Right? Because we kind of want to know about that. Okay, so on Privy, this is, do you know what a CMA is, a comparable market analysis?
Um,
It-
yes, the comp.
It's,
Mhm.
yeah, it's basically what a realtor is gonna bring you when they comp a property to show you what that property is worth, right? So
Right.
Privy is nice because it automatically provides you a CMA. That's how it works, right? So
Mhm.
when I start with a property, I like to start at the very top. I see it's listed for about 150. This is obviously different than what we saw before, right? Because
Right.
Privy doesn't have MLS access in San Antonio. It's gonna be slightly off. Now, does that mean Privy is garbage? No. All of the softwares are gonna have issues in Texas in general because Texas is a non-disclosure state. So never take anything from just one website. Always double, triple, always verify, always look at lots of different options. It's not like Privy is going to be the end all and over everything. You need to have and use lots of tools, right? This is your job to use all the tools possible to get as accurate a picture and as accurate a story of the property that you're looking at. right? Now, this is what I'm going to do tonight with you is going to take us half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour. With repetition and practice, this should take you 10 minutes. Okay. I understand we're all just starting out, but with practice and putting the reps in, you're going to get super good at comping and underwriting to see if a property's worth pursuing. Okay.
Got it.
So let's find out how much this property is actually worth, because just because it's listed for 140, 150 doesn't mean that that's what it's worth. That's just what they have it listed at, right? And here in Privy, I can see that. So this box, you can see my screen, right? With the little box.
We can see your screen.
This box is a half-mile box surrounding the property that we're looking at, right? And within this half mile, I can see that all the red boxes here are properties that have sold recently. The green ones are active. Now, we don't do comps based on active properties because we don't know what they're going to sell at. We want to run our comps and our valuation based on what other properties in the area have sold at, right? So I'm going to get rid of all of these properties here. Now, I want to further refine the properties I'm looking at here. And the way I do that is, here's a list of all of them. All of these properties here are now in a list down here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to see that some of them are different. As a contractor, a bedroom difference and a bathroom difference are significant, right? If you have 3 kids plus yourself, would you rather move into a 2-bedroom house or a 3-bedroom house? Would you rather have a 1-bathroom house or a 2-bathroom house? Those are significant issues to think about, right? So we want to compare apples to apples. I always start with bedroom. So our property is this one right here, 654 Elor Drive. It's this top line here. So I'm going to filter by bedrooms. And I'm going to get rid of all of the 2-bed houses. Okay. Now all we have is 3-bed houses. You following?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing with bathrooms because the difference between a 1-bath and a 2-bath is a significant one, and I'm not gonna entertain that right now, okay? Now, all our properties are super similar. The other thing I wanna look at is how long they've been on the market. Because the market's different now than it was 90 days ago. It's for sure different than what it was in March. You following?
Right.
So I don't want to compare March. I don't want to compare May. June is still, not great. Let's leave July. Is that fair? Does that sound fair? So I can see now I have 2 properties that are pretty good comparables. They're in the same neighborhood as my property, Lomo Park. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm confident that these 2 properties would be good comparables to my target property. Now, I want to go into these properties because this is between these 2 properties, Holy Cross and Honey J, there's a $50,000 difference. I want to understand why that is, because between my property and Holy Cross, they're the same price. So I want to understand why that difference is. I want to look at this property. And I can go to the listing and I can see that this property has had some work done. You see this? This is renovated. The floors have been renovated. The kitchen has gotten slightly updated. All they did was paint the cabinets here and put new hardware. I don't even think they put new hardware. It looks like they sanded the old hardware down, I would venture to say. But it's got stainless steel appliances. It's got a nice honeycomb backsplash. I mean, this is crazy to me. So now we're putting on, we're gonna be rabbit hole. What's it called? I'm gonna go down a rabbit hole here, and I'm gonna point out Robert's personal pet peeves. Last time I did this, everyone loved it. So I'm just gonna point out my pet peeves, okay? Because I do flips. I'm gonna point out my pet peeves, okay? The flooring in the living room here Fantastic. Why did they transition? See right here where they went a different way with it? Why? You could have just continued it on all the way through and it would have looked beautiful, right? That bothers me. Why would you put two different kinds of tile, one in the kitchen? This is tile, I think. It could be linoleum or, you know, pergo or whatever it is, but you could have continued that into the kitchen too. I like to have one type of flooring throughout the whole house, maximum two. So that's my personal preference, right? Now, soffits, you see the soffits up here above the cabinets? They should have got rid of those. That's old school stuff. Do you guys see this? You see my pointer? Okay, this is garbage disposal that was installed incorrectly. They put a new garbage disposal in and they just ran power to it here, probably from the back of the dishwasher. These cabinets are all painted. They're not new cabinets. I'm not sure why there's switches on the back wall of the kitchen. That's bizarre, right? If you're walking into the kitchen, you want to have the switches right when you walk in, not have to walk all the way around your stove on the back wall. So there's clearly some issues. They didn't hide the water heater. But anyway, my point is that this house has had some work done, right? The bathrooms, this is a very tastefully done bathroom, not my choice of tiles, my personal preference. This bathroom has also been redone. So your high ticket items typically are going to be kitchens and bathrooms and then mechanical stuff, HVAC, plumbing. The tiles don't match here. The floor tile doesn't match with the wall tile. Whatever, it's fine. And it's, you know, it's an okay yard, right? But we're at, this house sold for 205,000, okay? So we can say comfortably that we can probably, if we were to fix up our house, get it and list it at 205,000, right? That's what a fixed up house kind of sells for. Now, if you thought that and you agreed with me, you were probably wrong. Because the market today in October 18th is way different than it is 3 months ago in July 20th. Right? There's been at least a 10% drop in the market. So do your math, 205,000 times, let's call it 10% drop. It dropped $20,000, would be fair market now. So we're at 180, 185. Agree? So our ARV, our after repair value would be 185,000. 185,000 minus rehab costs gets us to what amount? I can't hear you.
Sorry.
There you go. There you go.
So it puts us at 125?
125. So 185 minus whatever it was, 50 or so $1,000.
60, yeah.
60,000 puts us at 125, you said?
Mhm.
Okay.
125.
Okay. So 125. That's already lower than what they have it listed at. Right? Now, is 125 the max we can offer on this? We should offer. No, because there's still other things we need to consider. For example, there's an agent listing this property. They're going to want 3% of the final sale price, right?
Right.
So do 185 times 3% and subtract that off also. Plus, we're going to want, let's say, $10,000 as our wholesale assignment fee. So subtract 10,000 there. Plus, as a fix and flipper, I'd want minimum 15% profit on the flip because I'm not doing a flip to break even. So do 185,000 times 15% and then subtract that off also. Okay. Then subtract another, let's say, 3,000 for title fees and escrow and all that other stuff. Okay, what number are we at now?
Yeah.
I would venture to say for a 3-bed, 1-bath, it's around 80,000.
78, 700, yep.
That's about what most people who are doing fix and flips in San Antonio will pay for a 3-1. Roughly 80,000. A 2-1 is roughly 65,000. Okay. But if you came to Robert and be like, hey, Robert, I found a great property, 654 Elor Drive. It's listed for 150 and I can get it for 120. Do you think that's a great deal? No, I don't think that's a great deal. If the house was in fixed up condition and you were moving into it, $20,000 savings is fantastic. But that's not why I'm buying the house. I'm
Right.
buying the house because I need to make money. I need to fix it up. And once I subtract out all the things that all my costs, my sunk costs into the house, I come out to a very different number than a $20,000 or $30,000 off sticker price that I need to pay for the house. Are you following?
Right, that's right.
Right? So I need to lock this up at max, 80, 85K max. And that leaves very, very little wiggle room, if something happens with the contractor and they go a few weeks behind, if my buyer backs out, those are extra costs that pile up and that makes my margins compress and I have even harder time making money. Right?
Right.
So if you find a house that's on market for 130 and you're like, oh yeah, I was able to get 20,000 off list price. Well, that's fantastic, but I gotta make more money than that. Right?
Right.
You have any questions about that?
No, perfect. That's exactly what I needed, was a walkthrough like that. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I'm happy to help anytime. Make sure you join us on Elephant Challenge. Again, that's starting next week. Pace and Laura and Benson and all those people are going to go through all this stuff again, high bird's eye view. They'll help kind of set some groundwork on how things work. But yeah, this is a 3-1 is fantastic. This is great. This is exactly what you should be looking for. This is exactly what you'd be doing. So, but okay, let's keep going. What do you do now? Now that you know how much you're supposed to be offering in order for this to make sense, now what do you do?
It's send an offer to the realtor or ask,
Fantastic.
right? Ask them.
Great. The thing I haven't talked about with you is who's going to buy this. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So Elephant Challenge is all about first. Now, this is specific to Elephant Challenge. It's not like this is the only way to do wholesaling. Okay. Specific to Elephant Challenge, what we're trying to do in Elephant Challenge is recommend that you first go and find buyers. Because if you can find buyers who are actively buying, they'll tell you what they're looking for. You understand? The majority of buyers in San Antonio are not buying $500,000 houses. Right? Do you have any question about why that is?
I assume because they want to rent them out.
You're never going to make your money on a rental if it's $500,000.
Oh,
Good point. Generally, now this is not cement rule, but generally what we're trying to do is we're trying to hit a 1% return, 1% rent rate on purchase price for rent, right? So if you have like this one here, $150,000 property and you rent it out for $1,500, you're hitting the 1% rule, and generally that's seen as being a good rental. Now, if you have a $500,000 property and it rents out for $2,700, that is not good, generally. Now, we can talk about situations where that would be good. For example, if you put very little money out of your pocket to acquire a $500,000 house, for example, if you did it subject to or seller financed, then you're coming out of pocket, let's say 5% of the purchase price, and you're making a much better return, cash on cash return on that rental. You understand how that can be better than having to buy a full, the conventional way is to put 20% down. We're in sub 2 here. We're not going to put 20% down on almost nothing. Okay. So, I have a deal that I'm working on, so I'm waiting to hear on it. Okay. Now, so let's go back. We were talking about, we're trying to find buyers because those buyers will typically tell us what they want. I know in San Antonio, people, the majority of sales are happening at the median price. That's what median price is, right? So if you're in San Antonio, if you're in Dallas, if you're anywhere in the country, because we do have people from other states here, look in your city, type in San Antonio median sales price, San Antonio real estate statistics, Oklahoma City real estate statistics. And they'll tell you, here's median price for the last month. Here's where the majority of homes sold. I would recommend most people, because you're an elephant challenge, you're typically a newer person. It's not like you're a seasoned vet in real estate. So I tell people, if you're an elephant challenge, you should be looking at median price in your city and below. If median price is, for example, in San Antonio, it's about 335, 340, roughly. If you're looking at $500,000 homes in San Antonio, you better have a good reason for doing that. And in my point of view, in Elephant Challenge, the only reason is because you have a buyer who you know is going to buy that from you. Otherwise, the majority of buyers are not going to be doing that. The majority of buyers are buying at median or below. And I wouldn't go too far down. Like I wouldn't look at $50,000 houses, right? ARV. I would look at houses that are 300, 350. This would be a decent one, 200 or so. Yeah, I probably wouldn't go any lower than this. And you're going to have a hard time in San Antonio, for example, if you were to try to do 2-bed, 1-baths, they're a dime a dozen and nobody wants them. It's hard to fix them. It's hard to flip them. Nobody wants that stuff. Okay. So you pick a market, you find a buyer, not one buyer, many buyers. That's something that you work through. Okay. Before I go on, let me back up a second. There's several aspects to this whole process, right? Picking a market, finding a buyer, so that we're talking about disposition strategies. We're talking about finding properties, comping them, and underwriting to see if they're going to be deals or not. We're talking about acquisitions. How do we put offers in and talk to agents and get those contracts signed? There's a few different steps here. We're teaching you about all those steps in the hope that, and I hope everybody's paying attention to this, in the hope that you figure out eventually that I really don't like to do this particular thing. I'm much better at this particular thing, with the goal of finding other elephants who you can team up with to take this whole strategy down as a team. Sub 2 is really big on collaborating, squatting up, you'll hear that a lot, and coming at this as a team. If you don't like numbers and you have a hard time underwriting a property, but you love being on the phone with buyers, you should find someone who's comfortable running numbers, and you should be on the phone selling these to buyers. You understand where I'm going? This is all about teaming up. We're showing you all the steps. but it would be awesome to team up. Now, you're gonna need things, right? You're gonna need another set of eyes, right? If you're saying, hey, I comp this, but man, Robert, I just don't know. I don't know if I ran my numbers right. Fantastic. Send it to me. You have my socials, you have my contact. I have Adriana, who is another sub two student who I'm partnering with, who can underwrite and check all your numbers to make sure, yeah, this is a good deal. Or like I told you now, it's like, oh, this is crazy. You're offering $50,000 over, right? So send it. Adriana can help you. Once we're like, hey, this is good. This is a good deal. Now it's time to submit an offer. Well, let's say you're scared about that. Naturally, you're scared to pick up the phone and call an agent and say, hey, how do I go about getting this under contract? No problem. We're here to help. I can do all those calls. I saw Dawn here. Dawn can help you do all that stuff. I see Tori here. Tori is my agent who I use for everything I can possibly do. Tori is an agent who can help you with all of that stuff also. So we're happy to have everyone bring us stuff, and we're gonna help you walk through it to make it as seamless and as painful as we possibly can. If you need, okay, now it's time to sign a contract. The seller accepts your contract, but you realize you need $5,000 of earnest money to make the contract valid, but you don't have $5,000. What do? What you do is you text Robert on Facebook or Instagram, Robert, I need EMD. Can you help me with that? And Robert, who's a Gator lender, can happily put, my job as a Gator lender is to put money into the joints. I put grease in the gears to make everything run smoothly, right? That's all I do. I connect people. So people come to the table with being able to find buyers. People come to the table with being able to disposition houses. People come to the table with knowing how to underwrite and look at deals and look at numbers. People come to the table knowing how to talk to agents, knowing how to develop those relationships where eventually those agents will bring you stuff before they even list it, right? Robert's job is to bring the table. I bring the table where all this stuff happens, and I'm happy to have everybody at my table as long as they're providing value to everybody else at the table. Miss April, any questions about that?
No, you've been great. Thank you for answering my questions.
Absolutely. If anybody has any questions, please, at the bottom of your screen, hit reactions and hit raise hand, and I will be happy to call on you. If there's any questions, go ahead and do that now. I think we talked about how to, kind of underwrite a deal, look at it, make sure the numbers would work. And again, we're not, our first shot at looking at properties is not creative. It's not trying to get these subject to, it's not trying to get these seller finance. In Elephant Challenge, our goal is to get those first deals, and the best way to go about doing that at first is to offer cash. So whenever someone asks you, are you a cash buyer? Your answer is yes, I am a cash buyer. Or you can, if you're more comfortable, you can say I'm a hard money buyer. I have financing in place. We can be hard money buyers. We can close quickly. Okay. And that's pretty much it. We submit a contract. It gets accepted by the seller. Then we would submit earnest money. You would call the Gator. You called Robert and say, hey, I have this deal. I would have Adriana look at it. She's my second pair of eyes. Adriana says, yes, this is a deal. Let's move forward with it. I will put an EMD to make those things happen. And then we would enlist the help of a TC, a transaction coordinator. Now, the TC's job is kind of to watch the chess game unfold, right? They're making sure everyone's doing all the rules. They're making sure all the paperwork is done, everything is signed, everything's delivered at the right place, all the money is wired correctly, all the paper is done exactly how it needs to be because every single state has different rules. So that's what a TC's job is. And the TC also gets paid with the transaction. Now you might say, well, I was expecting, I thought about a $10,000 assignment fee and I'm hoping to get $10,000 out of this. That typically doesn't happen. Typically what happens is we have a team who is all working to get this deal done and everyone gets a cut out of that assignment fee. And we want that. That's a good thing because I would rather not look at paperwork all day. I would rather pay a TC to handle all that because if something goes wrong, for example, and Tori's here, she knows, we did a deal and on the one of the partners in the deal wired her money in, but the memo was like one number off on the address or something like that, something ridiculous. And it held up the deal for days just because of a memo issue. Right? There's Tori. A little bit, I mean, that memo thing could be left blank, but one little number in that whole address thing screwed it all up and we're all just, all right, well, we got through it. We had to rewire money and we made it work, but I would rather have a TC handling all that stuff. So I don't have to, Robert doesn't have time for that sort of stuff, right? It's just my personality. If you like that stuff, awesome. You're welcome to do it. All right. I don't see any hands raised. Y'all have to raise some hands. If you have anything you want to comp, if you want to talk about deals. Tiana. April, did I answer all your questions? Thumbs up? All right. Thank you. I'm glad you can be here. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next Elephant Challenge, okay?
Thank you. I lose my face somewhere in the top.
Yeah,
Thank you though.
no problem. Okay, let's see. How do I get back to you guys? Miss Tiana, how is it going? Let's see, can I ask you to unmute? There we go. Talk to us. Miss Tiana, are you there? Welcome back to Tiana.
I am so sorry.
There we
I'm
go.
sorry. I'm on the phone with the internet company because the internet is very interesting.
Do you
I'm
need a
sorry,
few
that was an
minutes?
accident.
Do you need a
Yes,
few
I
minutes
do.
or? Okay, I'll bring you back, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Shin, how are you, sir?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Great. Yeah, so I have a couple questions. And for the property we were just looking at, if that property is listed at 150K, but it should be like 85,000 to make sense, how do we have the seller to come down so low? Or do we just send multiple offers to see what sticks? How does the process go for that one?
So I would recommend typically looking at houses that have been on the market for a little while. Right?
Okay.
A seller is less likely to be open to changing prices if they just listed, if it's only been a few weeks. But imagine if you were trying to sell your house and it's been on the market for 4, 5, 6 months. Would you be more inclined to sell at a lower price if it meant you sold it?
Yeah, a little bit more than just right out off of a market. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
that's what I typically recommend. Pretty much I don't even look at houses that are less than 90 days on market. Average days on market in San Antonio, I wanna say is 90 days. So typically, once it passes 90 days, I'm starting to be interested in those properties.
Okay.
That's
So
my
even-
personal,
Mhm.
you know,
Okay, so even if I see like a good property that pretty good price, but then once they start getting lots of multiple offers, I just kind of let it go, just move on to like property on the market for a long time.
I mean, if it's a good price and you've ran all your numbers, you've comped it, you've underwritten it, it looks like a great deal and you're getting it at a good price and you can get a contract on that, you should.
Mhm.
Don't wait. You know, we need to move on those because if you saw that it's a great property at a great price, I'm sure someone else is looking at it too. So you get on the phone with the agent, hey, I want to make an offer. How can
Mm.
I get that to you as quickly as possible? Can I have your email address and send out that offer?
Okay, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so my another question is that how do you determine the ARV in the area that you only see some lipstick updates done in the area? Like if, for example, if you don't see that I think in the area that it goes like 300,000, but you only see that the lipstick updates done for like 230 or something. How do you determine the good ARV for those? Do you know what I'm saying?
So ARV is determined by what? The
Uh,
neighborhood.
Right, in the neighborhood.
Yeah, how do you determine that?
So if I only see like minor updated properties in the area, how do you determine the ARV for the fully updated properties?
So I think what you're asking is if you're looking at a particular house, but none of the houses around it have been remodeled, how do you know what to offer on that house?
How do I know that what the ARV should be?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we can try to see if we can find something like that. I hope I'm understanding you correctly,
Mm.
and if I'm not, feel free to correct me, okay?
Okay.
So this house that we looked at clearly needs to be fixed up,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
And the next best house, this one here that we saw also needs work. So our house and this house are comparables in that they're at the same place where they're at, right? This house is fixed up and we know it sold at 205. To
Mhm.
bring it up to this same quality, this same level of repair is the scenario that I worked on earlier with her.
Mhm.
So we're not saying what is our house worth if we brought it to tip-top shape, right? That's
Mhm.
not what we're after. We're after how much should we purchase the house at, right?
Mhm.
So we know that if we were to bring our house to the same level as this house here, it would be roughly $200,000. That's our starting point.
Mhm.
Now, this house isn't fixed up to the nicest it could possibly be. Obviously, they can do a lot more to this house.
Mhm.
But they don't have to do that in order for us to know that if we brought ours to this level, it would still sell at 200.
Mhm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, it's not like all the houses have to be fantastic in order for us to determine an ARV, right? I'm sure these guys could have sold for a little bit more if they would have put more money into it. But the problem you run into with doing too much of a renovation is that you're sinking a lot of money into the renovation and you might not get that out once you try to sell the house. You understand what I'm saying? You know,
Mhm.
if they put $200,000 of renovations into this house and now they have $400,000 of sunk costs, they're never going to get that in this neighborhood.
Mhm.
So there's no reason to do that much renovation. You understand?
Yep.
So that's why they've only done this much renovation, because beyond that, they're not going to get as much of a return on their money in terms of rehab. costs.
Okay. So basically just don't look at anything beyond what's available.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
wouldn't.
Okay.
I'm not, now, obviously, sometimes we get a
Mm.
little bit clouded because if it was my house, I would spend more time and I would fix it up nicer because that's where I live.
Hmm.
But that's not the goal of what we're trying to do here. What we're trying to do here is furnish product to flippers and buyers who are going to flip it to whatever the market dictates in that particular neighborhood,
Hmm.
right? We're looking at this house in Loma Park, you know, there's nothing around here that's going to sell for $400,000. It's going to sit on the market forever.
Hmm.
Right? If
Yep.
you're, you know, over here more in Alamo Heights, Terrell Hills, man, if you find something at $200,000, it's gone in hours because this is a much nicer market, right? If you're up here in Stone Oak, this is a market that's asking for $400,000 properties, so you have to fix things to that level, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, you answered my question perfectly. Thank you very much.
Perfect is good enough for me. Shin, thanks for coming out, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much,
course.
Robert.
Of course. Miss Tiana, do you want me to come back to you now or give you some more time?
That was an accident, but since I'm already out here, hi everyone. I hope everyone had a wonderful day. Positive vibes only. No, I wanted to ask, is anyone struggling with speaking with sellers? I am working with Miss Allison and a few others. We hold each other accountable every day. We are, maybe there's an area where she is not so great at, and I'll excel in, and vice versa. If anyone needed help with speaking with sellers, comping, anything, I am here. I know we can't do it alone. I'm telling you, it is, man, I'm being attacked every day, and it is a fight every day. And I'm going to fight until I reach my goal.
Awesome. Now, I want to ask, are you talking to sellers or are you talking to agents?
Just talking to everybody. Sellers, if I could try to structure, so I'm working on trying to better myself with structuring my business, trying to balance personal work life. Just moved out to Texas back in April, 20 minutes east of Dallas in Forney. I've been making a lot of connections, and I come from Fortune Builders. I don't know if you guys know about that. They lack, I'm sorry, no, I'm not trying to put anybody down, but I was lacking the connections. Like I didn't know anything about connecting with people until I ran across Pace. Oh my God. He saved me in so many ways. But without it being said, I am offering my help. And if anyone else needed my help, if someone wanted to come on board, let's get a deal. I don't know, if everybody is struggling to get a deal, let's figure out what it is we need to do to get a deal.
Awesome. That's awesome. Awesome. Teaming up and working with other people. And yeah, I'm happy to help however I can. What kind of things are you guys struggling with?
Just juggling life. That's pretty much it. So I've been working on mindset. I work on everything. I work on my business, my kids, everything, but I had to get my mind right I figured if I get my mind right, everything else will follow. And it is happening right now. So yeah, I don't know, just accountability. I'm here.
That's awesome. Yeah,
That's
well,
it.
I'm happy you're here. I hope you keep coming. We're just gonna keep increasing students because I know there's a lot of people signed up for this next Elephant Challenge, so hopefully we can keep growing and keep improving and keep making deals. Yeah, I know sometimes it's hard, it's just one of those seasons where we all go through it. Feels like we're not making any traction, but who cares? This is all about that consistency and you just keep going through it. Make sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing and just being consistent and showing up and putting the reps in and it'll happen for you. And yes, squatting up with others is the sure way to make traction and have deals happen. Thank you so much for coming. Tiana, really appreciate it. It's good to see you again. Let's go to Mr. Phillip.
Hey Rob, hey everyone. I just have a quick question. Last
Yeah.
week you were talking about REI reply, and I just wanted to know if you could tell me the individual's name who you said has some good like resources on setting that up.
I know Myron Briley. He is a substitute student out of Dallas. He's the Dallas leader there.
Okay.
He is pretty well versed in REI reply. I mean, I do a little bit of REI reply too. What is it you're needing help with?
So I was just looking at it over the past couple days, and I just wanted to just see like a really just like a template or blueprint, and then I consider myself pretty tech savvy, so I can just like set it up pretty quickly after that. That was really much it.
What are you trying to do with it?
So I'm trying to use it for my agent outreach. So sending text messages to agents
Mhm.
and as a CRM too, since it doubles as a CRM, just holding the leads that come in from agents. So really, it's just I wanted to use that as my hub for agent outreach and agent communication. That's pretty much it. And then just holding the properties that I get from agents and also other wholesalers or investors that I connect with.
Okay. REI reply is great for contacts. So if you're trying to interact with contacts via phone call, via SMS, via email campaigns, that is a fantastic platform for that. Elephant Challenge doesn't really go into like SMS and email campaigns. It's a little bit beyond what we're trying to do. Elephant's all about like being on the phone with agents.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're comfortable and you're moving past what is being covered in Elephant Challenge, it's your prerogative to do that, obviously. If you're wanting to use REI Reply as a property management CRM, it will not work for that. It does not have the capability of keeping properties and lists of properties and following up a pipeline of properties. It is not good for that.
Okay.
Okay. I would recommend you, what I personally do is I use two different ones. I use REI Reply for all my communication, and then I use Podio to manage all of my properties. It's not the best. It's convoluted. You have to use Zapier to make integrations work. And even then, there's idiosyncrasies around how everything works.
Mhm.
That's the solution I currently use. There are other options. It's just a matter of going into, you know, Googling and searching for stuff. Yeah,
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I was just looking at REI reply because for that mass SMS outreach to agents, because I already scrubbed the list and I have over 10,000 agents. So I just didn't want to do it one by one and call them. I was like, let me just shoot them all a text message and then I'll get on the phone with them. So that was my thought process.
yeah, so if you were to shoot 10,000 people a text message, you would get sued. There's a lot of rules and a lot of legalities around texting people now.
Hmm.
I don't know what it's called, 10 DLCC. There's all sorts of weird 10 DC. I can't remember exactly. So the way to go about doing it is to use a drip campaign, which REI reply does allow you to do.
Mm.
I sent out, I think one day, thank you, Drew, 10 DLC. I sent out one day on accident when I first started it up. I sent out, I think, like 200 text messages or 250 text messages in one day, and my carrier banned me. They wouldn't let me send any more messages.
Mm.
And
Okay.
but it's not only volume. It's not only volume that's the issue. It's also they have AI or something that scrubs all of your messages and makes sure that you're not using specific keywords that sounds like you're trying to sell something. Because if you're using those words that are on the ban list, you also get banned, which also happened to me. And you get all these error codes like we can't send, you can't text anymore. So you have to
Mm.
go in and tweak your script in order to, you know, make it compliant and be able to drip campaign those SMS people, you know.
Gotcha. Looks like I'll be going back to the drawing board and doing more research.
It's man, it would be easy to just send out 10,000. I'll just deal with the people who call back, but yeah, it doesn't. I thought it was like that too. I'm trialing this whole SMS thing and it's a learning curve. It's not complicated. It just
Hmm.
takes a little bit of trial and error to make it work.
Gotcha. Well, I
But
don't want
no,
to hold up anyone's
don't give
time.
up.
So
Don't
yeah,
give up. You know, keep trying and you'll figure something out.
yeah, I'm pretty sure I will. I appreciate all the insight and advice.
Of course, man. Squad up with people if you need anything. You know, you're in Discord and you got my social handles and everything. Feel free to reach out.
Will do.
Good to
Thanks.
see you, man. Thank you for being here and participating. I really appreciate it. My friend Eric, how are you, sir?
¿Qué pasó, amigo? I'm good. So I've been working with a contractor. And I told him, I said, man, if you ever come across anything that has, seller financing or anything sub two like that, let me know. Because he's out and about a lot doing construction and stuff and roofing and whatnots. And I know it's not in a real good market or whatever, but he sent me a property today and wanted me to look at it. And I actually talked to the seller he got seller finance to begin with. And he's put $40,000 into it. And he's a don't wanter now because he's run out of money. So, and he's just kind of wanting to get out of it and get on with his life, I guess. But his seller finance, he bought it for $52,500 at 8%. His payment is $501. And it's a 15-year term. And like I said, he's put in $40,000 down. He wants 129 for it. But the comp that's in that area, the one comp that I got, this is a 2-1. The one comp I got was 129 for a 3-1 that had been renovated. I I think looking up some rental stuff in the area, I think I could probably get anywhere from 1150 to 1200. But I'm just not quite sure. My thought was, offering him, because there's still another 10, he's done most of the reno, it was a full gut. And he's done everything except for painting in the roof.
Okay.
According to him. So, and I've already talked to the contractor and I asked him, I said, well, how much would it take to finish this out? And he said, about 10, so, or less. So anyway, so I'm thinking, I don't want to be into this more than $100,000 at max, but I just wanted to hear what your thoughts would be on something like this.
Okay, so ARV is 120-ish.
Yeah, I mean, that was a 3-1 was 129. It sold in August 3rd, so. But this is a 2-1 as the subject property.
Let's call it 120 just for
Okay.
simplicity's sake. And you're thinking 10,000 would bring it up to rent ready.
Mm-hmm.
And is there anything left after that to do? Any exterior work or anything like that?
I mean, that's painting on the outside. So, I mean, I would be looking to rent it out. So, as far as landscaping and stuff like that, I don't think I would really worry too much about
Okay, so we're about like 110.
that. Yeah.
That you gotta figure out what's going on. So there's an existing mortgage on there.
No, the owner owned it. So he did a seller finance to this person I talked to who now is buying it from him. So it was an owner to owner. So, and he bought it for 52.5 and he's paying $501 a month, at 8% for 15 years. So, and I mean, I looked on a mortgage calculator, I'm like, crap, I can pay less than that at 8%, 15 years to a bank. I mean, that wouldn't be beneficial for me to take over that loan.
Yeah, that's really high. I mean,
Yeah.
it's almost close to what, market is now. I think I saw today was like almost 7%.
Yeah. So trying to, refinance the whole thing, I was thinking of doing the 91 or 90,000 and then get a loan for 100,000 so I can finish out the reno with my contractor, and then that would put me at below 1% on the rent.
Yeah.
But, it's in Eagle Lake, which is, I guess Sealy is like the guy. Of course, he probably lied to me or whatever. He said all the properties up in Sealy are getting higher, and everybody's moving this direction. So
Yeah, the biggest thing would be, would you have to work out a deal with the original seller to take over this loan?
I don't think so.
So what would you do with this loan? You'd pay it off?
I don't know. I wasn't sure what strategy, what direction I would go. Getting a HELOC with using equity in my house and putting the 23,000 down or 20,000 down or whatever, and then financing the rest at the current rate, and paying him out. But I'm not sure if that's the right direction to go.
So first you would have to figure out what is gonna happen to that existing loan, that 8% at, what was it, 55,000-ish, something like that,
Well,
51,000?
if I was to get it right now, the payout on that, I could pay that out for $51,970.54.
So
and
let's call
pay
it
him off.
$52,000 or so.
Yeah, yeah.
So that, you could, obviously you could go get a loan from the bank at whatever 75% of the value, or whatever it is. Cause you couldn't, I'm not sure if you could take over this sub too. It just has to depend on what's gonna happen to that existing loan. You would have to come up with a loan of somewhere in the ballpark of 65,000 or so, you're thinking? To pay off this existing loan plus to have funds in order to do the repairs and everything else? Out of pocket, you'd be max 65,000.
Well, then what's gonna happen with the 40,000 that he's probably gonna want back? The guy
Now
that
I'm
did the
following.
fix. Yeah. So that's why I was thinking just the existing, what he took over and what he's got into it. He said he's got 40,000 into it. Which is a full gut. I can see that he's got 40,000 into it.
Okay.
You know, that puts it at the 92,000, just break even.
Roughly, yeah. Okay, so. Is this guy open to doing any financing for you?
You know what? I didn't get that far with him.
Yeah, so you have to come up
Probably,
with 92,000 somehow.
yeah. So, yeah, but I mean, I just think the 501, the original thing that he did is crap anyway. I wouldn't have done that at 8%. I mean, you can go get a regular loan for that. You know, I mean, I wouldn't do a seller finance. Well, I guess
Well, maybe he couldn't qualify.
maybe.
Maybe he couldn't qualify. You know, a lot of these trades guy, like
Yeah.
I have a 1099, so it's hard to qualify for loans and stuff sometimes,
Yeah,
you know? So you
Yeah.
have to come up with 92,000 or so based on a house that's roughly 120,000. So 80% of the value,
yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So the question is, how do you come up with that? Is it possible to do this creatively where you try to subject to the whole thing, try to get that guy to seller finance you the whole lot of it? He might be willing to take a $90,000 seller finance loan at, but I wouldn't do it at 8%. You'd have to talk him down to that somehow. Your goal is to keep this property as a rental for yourself?
Yes. That's what I'm
Yeah.
trying to do. I'm trying to acquire properties for the next 15 years before I retire. That's my
Yeah.
my
Good
end
on you.
game.
Good on you. It's a tough situation because of the way he has it structured and because of that high interest rate.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, look, like Crystal Road, if you're trying to dispose of this, you could more be methoded,
Mm.
you could wrap it or something. That, it's a complication. It could be answered.
Wouldn't it be him wrapping it to me?
I mean, yeah, that's what the hope is, but
Yeah.
you're gonna have to sweet talk him into giving you a lower interest rate than 8%, is what I'm hearing you say, you know?
Well, that was the original owner. So this new guy that owns it now. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
but
guess-
I'm just trying to like think of the conversation like, well, I'm paying 8%. Why would I give you 4%? You know?
Right? Yeah.
I mean, you
Yeah.
could say, yeah, I'm giving you, you know, you're paying 8% on 50,000. I'm paying you 4% on 100,000. It kind of works out. I mean, not exactly, but you'd have to sweet talk him into a lower number. But I mean, it's doable if he's willing to sell or finance it to you. The problem is, what happens if he doesn't pay this other guy? You know, you're
Yeah.
making this guy payment, so you'd have to set up a service company for your payment to him and then his payment to the other guy, which is doable. Again, it's not a big deal. It's just a few complications that are there, and you have to figure out what you want to do with that. It would be easy to just go out and get a conventional loan and just wipe everybody out, and you just have one loan with the bank.
Yeah.
But
That's kind of what I was thinking. To just that way I can get it at 7 and 30 instead of 15 year. But I mean, I don't know. I just wasn't sure what I should offer him or whatever. But maybe I just offer him the 92 and just, you know, see just how bad he's wanting to get out of there.
yeah, I wonder if So Texas has, you ever heard of an executory contract?
Yeah, I've heard Pace talk about it.
Yeah, look up an executory contract. I'm not sure if it would fit this situation. You know, ownership doesn't fully transfer to you until everything is paid out, but you do have an equitable interest in it. For some reason, my mind's going there, but it's worth looking into.
Okay, I will do that. All righty, and
Yeah.
the person who was helping me on my deal up here is, I'm not sure what's going on with her, but she's kind of ghosted me since Wednesday of last week. I haven't,
Oh, man.
she texted me and said, she goes, oh yeah, I'll look into this and I'll run some numbers or whatever. 2 days goes by, a text, nothing. 2 days, nothing, nothing. You know, I drop a little here, whatever, but I'm not sure how long I'm gonna finesse that. I mean, she's helped me pretty good so far, and now I'm like, crap, man, is she just not wanting to help me anymore or what? So I'm
Yeah.
not sure when I'm gonna try to move on with somebody else or what, but
Yeah, if you want to send me those details, like more specific details, you know, more accurate numbers, what I can do is I can take it into the team and have them look at it and come up with some ideas and I can get back to you.
okay, on the one here in town or this one?
Whichever one
talking
you're
about.
looking at. Yeah, if you need help with it, I'm happy to help.
Okay, all right, appreciate it, Bob.
No problem. Yeah, you got my social contacts and
Yeah, yeah,
Messenger and all
got it.
that. Feel free to reach out, man.
All right,
Yeah,
thanks.
I'm working on building a team to help out elephant people as much as possible.
Yeah,
and-
yeah, we need to get together. You're not very far from me.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you again, Eric, for coming out. Appreciate it. Mr. Roland, are you there? Let's see. How can there we go. Mr. Roland. I'll come back to you.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, there you
Sorry.
are. No problem.
Sorry,
How are you,
just,
sir?
I'm good. Yourself?
I'm doing pretty
Can you-
good.
Can you hear me okay? I got a new headset.
Yep, I can hear you just fine. How about video? Can you give me video or no?
Yes, sorry, I was just in the other room.
Love it. Awesome.
All right. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate you.
Of course.
Hi, everybody. So is this all the San Antonio people or we got Austin people in here too? Or
We got people from all over. It's open to
Okay.
everybody.
All right.
The whole
Yeah,
the whole
just-
country.
Great. So, man, what a week. Made quite a few offers. All of them got rejected.
Awesome.
Yeah, right. So one of the realtors got really frustrated with me. Because I kept, throwing in these low offers, and at the end he was like saying that, they won't accept it. I'm like, just do a verbal, just don't even put it in writing. Just do a verbal and see what they say. Save yourself the work.
Mhm.
And then, he's still working with me, but I'm expecting one of these days he's gonna ghost me. But yeah,
They always do that, man.
yeah, there's so many of them. We can work with another one, just, but yeah,
What market are you working?
I've been working Austin, and it's just because I'm there more, and I'm driving around more in Austin.
Cool.
I go to San Antonio once a week, but I go to Austin like 3 times a week. So, yeah, and I've got a lot of driving for dollars, leads basically, because every time I go there, I snap pictures of properties and then I just save them up, and then eventually I skip trace them and I'll start calling them. Today, my challenge was like there was a street in Austin that it was all these Latino owners, and I couldn't skip trace them for some reason. Like it was this one street that I just couldn't find anybody. But anyway, it's just another day. But I've been I've been changing my strategy from, I was comping too much. Now I'm trying to talk to more people. So, a little bit more action.
Yeah, man, don't worry about it. Like, the goal is to put in offers, to get comfortable putting in
exactly.
offers. And
Yeah.
the majority of my offers are rejected. It's just a normal part, and it's a numbers game. Obviously, if you're comfortable comping and you think your comping is solid, and you know that this is what I have to offer on this to make money on it, then I could care less what the agent thinks about it. This is my offer. This is where I break even on it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm fairly comfortable comping. Unless when it gets to tear downs, that's where it gets challenging. I talked to a builder this morning. I was trying to have him help me, figure out what his criteria is, because things change, especially now. So I called him and I was
So-
like, hey,
You're talking about
Go ahead.
tear downs, like where the house needs to be completely torn down?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So in Austin, you got quite a few places like that where it's basically it's about the lot. There's a shack on the lot. And so I'm figuring out ways to comp that. So something I've learned is that you can look at a lot square footage and then multiply that by 0.4, and that gives you the buildable space on the lot. So with that, I can go, okay, so it'll cost $375 a foot to build something really nice here. And
Holy
then,
cow.
yeah, because that's what the builders are telling me, like $375.
$375 a square foot?
Yeah,
Holy
to
cow.
make, to build one of those really nice Austin new builds. That's what
That
it
is
costs.
crazy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What is it in San Antonio?
It's way cheaper than that. So I could probably get it done like at 105, 115.
Wow.
In
Oh yeah,
in-
it's kind
in
of in
Oregon,
line
it's
with
like
everything.
200. 375 is ridiculous.
Well,
Yeah,
sorry to cut in here. So Roland,
Who is that? Is that Dawn?
that's me. Hi.
What's up, Dawn?
So what I've found when talking with builders is they're telling you that so they ensure their profit, right? And that's just to make sure that if they don't get as much for the house that they thought they were going to once it's finished on the build, then they still have that margin of error to account for any loss that they can anticipate. So I've been told 450, I've been told 400 and 350, I think, by a builder in Austin. Those three were in Austin. So it just depends, right? And as you start to build a relationship with them a little bit more, that may change, right? Because for it to be such a big spread between San Antonio builders and Austin builders, that's my first kind of cue that, okay, then maybe it's not as much to build the house, but they're trying to make sure if there's any errors or they have to get certain permits or other costs, or however the market is going to go, they hike up their price per square foot. So that way they can make their profit. So that was just something I wanted to point out.
yeah, no, that's a valid point. And you're definitely right. It has a lot to do with permits. So I worked for a builder in LA, and I called him recently and I was like, hey, what does it cost over there? And he's like 500 a foot. And he's a high-end builder. But here in
What
Austin,
kind
I've
of
got,
buildings are these?
what's that?
What kind of buildings are these? Commercial or just regular residential?
What he's building is condos for between 5 and 20 unit buildings. So he's not
Commercial.
building single family. But he also builds like spec homes, but they're, you know, they're nice. They're Beverly Hills and all that.
Okay.
But that's LA, you know. But here in Austin, I've gotten anything from 300 to 400 square foot to build.
No
So
commercial stuff.
no, like A and B units, or a very nice single family, like
Yeah.
close to downtown, one of those really new ones, you know, like
Mhm.
one of those like what they call the
Like a
mini mansions
duplex.
or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But in San Antonio, you're telling me like it's half or less, right? But that's in line with the property prices, because when you look at Austin and San Antonio market's like, you know, 50% of Austin, basically. When you look
Yeah,
at
it is.
values.
And the other thing you have to really be aware of right now in Austin, I think I saw there's like somewhere around a 20% drop in
Definitely,
price.
yes. Yeah, I
So
keep that into account. Yeah,
keep
for
that
sure.
into account. I mean, you're clearly beyond what we're talking about in Elephant Challenge,
Oh,
but
okay.
awesome, no problem.
Well, I do have
I'm
one more
happy to talk
question.
about it.
Uh,
Sure.
I'll make it very short. It's just,
No
if
worries.
there's any creative people in here, like, so is our creative investors, or you know, are they interested in doing creative financing for lots that don't have a structure on them? Or are they only interested in doing creative financing when there's an income producing property on there?
So typically we're buying with creative financing properties. It could be lots too. It just depends on what the exit strategy is. For example, we have a guy in sub two, out of Houston. I want to say, where's Jeff Smith out of? I think he's out of Houston. He's the Texas land guy. He buys huge tracts of land and sells them to developers. You know, his creative thing is not necessarily the financing part. It's being able to talk to the various landowners and figuring out how to structure a deal. So creative can mean a few different things. I don't deal with lots anymore. I used to a long time ago. Um, I am just skittish right now with the market and new builds because the prices are dropping and margins anyway are super tight on new builds. So, you know,
Okay, so you're focusing on flips and buying homes and stuff.
yeah. Yeah, right
Yeah.
now I'm looking for, I'm not looking at anything other than assisted living and multifamily right now.
Hmm.
You know, but that's just my personal thing. I'm sure, you know, there's people doing lots of other things and I'm not the end all be all here.
Yeah, okay, cool. Well, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. It's good information as always. So thank you, everyone.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks so much for coming out. This is good to meet you. Good to meet you, brother.
Likewise.
All right, let's see. Mr. Drew, how are you? Let me figure out how to. There we go. I
Good
can hear you.
evening. Hey,
Awesome.
Rob.
Thank you for turning on your camera. Love it.
No, I appreciate you for doing
Let me
this.
see your shirt. Serve what?
Oh, well, this is a work shirt, right? Serve, give, love. We're a
Awesome.
healthcare company. So
Cool. What do you guys do?
we serve the underprivileged in those communities, specifically the elderly. I loved their message, what they were about. That's why I decided to join them. I do cybersecurity
No
for the
kidding.
company. Yeah,
No kidding. Yeah.
I'm a
I have
cybersecurity engineer.
experience in all those things. A little bit of
Oh,
IT,
nice.
a little bit of elder care, all that stuff. Awesome. Cool.
Yeah. So, my question tonight was in regards to offers, specifically the MAO. I recently started shooting out some offers for the first time ever.
Awesome.
I just started doing this back in March, wholesaling.
Cool.
And It's for on-market properties that I'm doing this for. And I had a question regarding using the formula, when to use the formula, which is ARV times 0.60, 0.50, depending on whatever, you know, the buyers are buying for, the percentage of ARV they're buying for in the area, minus the fee. And then, you know, you shave off another 10% because of market trends. So that's a formula I'm kind of using now. And then
Okay.
the flip calculator that Pace provides.
Okay.
So when should I be using one or the other? Should I be using both together when crafting the MAO?
Yeah,
I'm kind of confused there.
oh no, it has to do with what you prefer. You know,
Okay.
it's not like one could be better for the other, depends on the property, depends on how you're running the numbers, it depends on the situation. There's more than one way to skin the cat, and that's what's happening here. There's different ways to do it. How has your success been using the formula versus the other one? Do you
Well,
feel like you're getting more accurate numbers with one or the other?
well, I just recently started like sending out offers last week, so I don't
Okay.
really know. I don't have a good sample size yet.
Yeah,
Um,
here's how I see it. The
yeah.
formula, and I know Jamil talks about, he has a formula for all the Astro students, and it's very similar to the one you mentioned. The formula versus the way Pace does it, the reason it's done that way is because I personally believe one is more accurate.
Mhm.
So coming from a construction background and all that stuff, I know what the costs are gonna be. You know, I can get pretty close to what my estimate is gonna be when we're doing rehabs, right? Because I know the cost of materials are, I'm familiar with that. I go to Home Depot several times a week. You know, most people don't do that. I go to Home Depot just to sniff the wood. You know, I'm in my 40s. That's what I do. I go to Home Depot. I don't even need anything. I go to Home Depot, right? I know how much my foundation. I know how much my framers cost. I know how much my electrical costs. I know all these things, right? I can get pretty close with my estimates. So I personally like to use Pace's calculator because it's more clean and you hit your numbers, you know, you get a better picture. If you're throwing out, which is not, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, it's actually in some ways better to have a quick formula and throw out a bunch of offers because then you're getting those offers out there. The worst thing you can do is have analysis paralysis where you're comping a property takes you 4 hours and you submit one offer a week. That's terrible. Don't do that. If it means that you're not very accurate on your numbers, but you're submitting a ton of offers, that's a little bit better, right? At least you're making progress. You're taking action, you're getting those offers in. Comping properties is good, but that's not action. You're just running numbers and you're not really doing anything that's going to provide you deals. Submitting offers is what is going to get you deals. Now, if your offers are crazy because they're way high and you're having to back out of contracts, that's an easy problem to fix. You just get better at your numbers, right? But if all you're doing is numbers and you're afraid to talk to realtors and you never submit an offer, you're dead in the water. So if using the formula gets you to submit those offers quicker and it doesn't handicap, you know, because I can understand the Pace is more detailed uh rehab cost and looking at that stuff. Is going to get you better numbers, but you could get caught up in too many numbers and forget that I just need to submit some offers. I hope
Okay.
I'm
No, that
kind
makes
of
sense.
making sense.
That makes
No,
sense.
so awesome that you're submitting offers. How many would you say you're submitting on a daily or weekly basis?
Well, seeing as I just started last week, it's been one per day.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
As
Where
as
would
I
you
get the
like to be?
reps in, yeah, the 5 a day that they mentioned, you know, for the challenge, and I feel I'll get there once I put the reps in, right? I just have to get more comfortable with the process.
Awesome. Yeah. I would say that is a very good metric. If you can do 5 a day, and that means you're shortening the amount of time you're spending comping, but you're actually getting those offers submitted. You're talking to the agents, you're getting those offers out. That's fantastic, dude. It's
Okay.
more than most people are doing. Most people get caught up in comping and they're getting maybe 1 offer a week, maybe. You know, you props for taking action and submitting offers. Even you're taking action, even though you haven't figured out the whole numbers thing yet, which is where you should be. It's good.
Thank you.
Submit 20 more and fail at all of them, and then figure out, oh, I'm failing because I'm underbidding by like 10%. Let me just raise this a little bit. And then you'll submit another 20 and you'll get a deal or 2. Right? Or you'll figure out something else and that's when you call me. Hey, Robert, I have no, what the heck is going on here? Or I have a deal or 2. I don't have enough EMD to make this deal happen. Easy. That's easy stuff to fix, you know? What's not easy to fix is get on with an agent and make offers. It's the biggest hurdle, you know? Props. Good job. What else? What else can I help you with?
That's kind of just where I am right now. It took me a while to get to this point, right? Because of, you know, the whole engineering background that I have, over analyzing things. So it took me a while to get here, and now it's, you know, the numbers that are, you know, making me a bit hesitant in submitting these offers, but I just decided to just pull the trigger, use a formula, and see what happens. And then,
Yeah,
you know,
exact. It's
course
great.
correct as needed.
Yeah, it's great. I would say everyone just like offer 50% of what you think it's worth just to get the reps in for offering. Like 100% of your offers are going to get rejected, right? 100%. Who cares? Get used to offering, making offers, get that stuff down, learn that stuff, and then you can tweak your numbers to where your offers are actually receiving positive responses, right? And even then, you're not going to get 100% positive responses. You're going to get, you know, 1 out of 20, 1 out of 50, whatever it is. You know, awesome. Thank you, Drew. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Rob.
Yeah, man. Come back every Tuesday. And you're signed up for Elephant Challenge coming up at the end of the month?
Yes, I am.
Sick. All right. Awesome. Thank you. Have a great night, man.
Likewise. Take care.
Thanks. Hey, Ray, how's it going? Let's see. Can I unmute you? Mr. Ray, are you there?
All right, I think we were muting and unmuting each other.
Probably.
What's going on, man?
Hey, how are you, sir?
Pretty good. Yeah, I didn't have a lot tonight. I just wanted to ask, I thought I heard you say if we need help, we could come to you. Now, I didn't really interpret that as like advice as far as one of the components of the Elephant Challenge, or actually do deals with you, or JVing with you, or you're the buyer, or like what places are you buying? So yeah, I just wanted to get some clarification on that, because I just caught that. I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, for sure. You can bring stuff to me if you have questions on deals, if you want to JV on deals, if you don't know what to do once you submit an offer, all that stuff, I'm happy to help with.
Okay.
I also do a lot of Gator lending.
Okay.
I'm one of the original have been one of the original Gators, and so I'm happy to do that stuff too. I am not buying anything right now except for multifamily and assisted living facilities. but I do have a good dispo team. So if you bring something and you don't know what to do with it, I can typically help you find a buyer.
Okay, yeah, and I don't know if you remember, because you probably talked to a ton of people, but I was virtual in Indianapolis. So I'm still trying to build buyers though too. So just skip tracing those LLCs and true people searching them and trying to reach them. It's just kind of hard to reach them. So just doing some other strategies as far as reaching buyers. But okay, so
So
like
if you're finding stuff in Indianapolis,
yeah.
we have a really strong buyers list in Indianapolis.
Hmm.
Feel free to bring that stuff to me.
Okay, all right, that's perfect. That's good. Okay. Yeah, because it's kind of hard to reach those folks. I don't know. But all right, cool. All right, yeah, that was pretty much just wanted to know. Oh, let me ask you one quick question. So I know I heard you mention the transaction coordinator. So do you, if you're the Gator, because I've never used a Gator lender before, do you insist on a transaction coordinator because your money is now at risk and you want to transact like a trained transaction coordinator, like with their finger on the pulse of all the moving parts, or just like you said, moving the chess pieces earlier?
Yeah, yes, and
Mhm,
I don't like paperwork.
mhm,
So they help with paperwork. It protects all parties involved because so they're like an independent third party. It's not like they work for me directly. They're making sure that everybody's doing what they're supposed to do,
mhm.
right?
Okay.
So that's important. And then they're
Um,
it's just wise to have them. Like I will not do a deal if there's not a transaction coordinator involved.
Like a EM, like just your own deal or EMD deal, like where you're providing EMD
Um,
or
I
anything.
will not do any deal without
Okay.
a transaction coordinator.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are the expectations
I mean,
for
I
a
don't
whole?
always have to provide one. I don't always have
Mhm,
to provide one because usually there's a transaction coordinator like in the agent's office or something like that.
mhm,
But if I'm specifically doing a gator
yeah.
on a deal, then I'm going to have a transaction coordinator to look at that because I just feel more comfortable that way.
Okay, to set, now you said this earlier, to set the expectations for the wholesaler, if they factor in a $10,000 assignment fee for themselves with their offer and it gets accepted. So once the Gator fee and the transaction coordinator fee comes out, what should they realistically expect to net from that?
So it depends also on dispo strategy.
Mhm,
For example, if you're taking it to Dispo Titans, which is a crew that all they do is dispositions of properties, they want 50%,
mhm.
right?
Sorry about that
If
noise. It keeps, yeah.
if you're dispoing if you have buyers yourself, that's kind of what the whole point of Elephant Challenge is to try to get you to learn all those various pieces. So if you're putting a property under contract and you have a buyer yourself, you're gonna keep more of that percentage, right? Now, let's say you need Gator funds for a deal, right? TCs are somewhere around $1,000. If it's short notice, they're probably gonna charge 1,200 or so. We did a deal where we had to fund that same day. The deal came across my desk, we had to fund that same day. A lot of TCs won't even look at that because most of them are numbers people and they don't like to be rushed. And so most of them won't look at that. Um, but that's why they typically charge a little bit more when there's that sort of thing happening, short term. So they're about $1,000, and then I'll on a $10,000 assignment. Awesome, your camera's working.
Yeah.
Um, on a $10,000 assignment, I'm probably gonna take 2,000, maybe 3,000. That's a smaller deal for me. I'd be okay with that
You're saying as the gator.
as the gator.
Okay.
Yeah, if I'm putting up the, and it depends on what the EMD is, you know? It depends. If it's a $50,000 EMD,
Mhm.
you know, because it's not only your transaction, it's not only your assignment fee that goes into that EMD sometimes, right? Because there's closing costs and there's gap lending sometimes that happens. So it's not only that $10,000 we're talking about, right? So if there's like a $50,000 EMD, you better believe I'm going to charge more because that's a significant chunk of money that I would have to put into that transaction. And I expect to be paid for making those gears work well, you know? And typically I can make those things happen pretty quickly. So I also, we're looking at doing bigger, I mean, I'm happy to do whatever I can to help Elephant Challenge people. But we're also looking at doing commercial gator lending. And those numbers are bigger, but from a transaction deal standpoint, the gator fee I charge is minimal. It's almost insignificant to the deal, you know? Yeah, they're
Mhm.
bigger numbers. They don't come across as often, but they don't take any more effort, you know?
And one thing to keep in mind, Ray, is one is dependent on the deal, it's dependent on the amount needed to fund and the time duration. But the last one is also dependent on the gator that you're dealing with, right? It really purely depends deal to deal and gator to gator. So if one gator isn't necessarily working for you, you're not a great fit for each other, go talk to somebody else, right? So like Rob may charge, he said 2,000 or 3,000. Another gator could charge 4,000. So it just depends on what you need, how quickly you need it, and the time frame you need it in. Because whatever that gator is lending, remember that you're taking that money from something else that they could fund, and so you have to remember all of those moving parts. So just be open and honest with the gator that you're communicating with, so that way you can get a clear idea of what they're wanting back.
Mhm. Okay. Okay, that's cool.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks, Ray. Yeah, I see you
Appreciate
here
it.
all the time, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Dawn.
Yeah, and if you guys need anything, if you need anything, Ray, you got my handles. You can reach out. Sometimes I'm slow. I just got a lot going on, but I always try to get back to everyone as best as I can. I'm running a whole bunch of other stuff too. You know how it is. I appreciate patience and grace. Thanks, Ray. If anybody else has any questions, again, hit reactions at the bottom, raise hand. We're getting close to 2 hours, so we're gonna try to wrap it up pretty quick here. I'm gonna hit Sandro. And then if there's nothing else, we'll call it a night. What's up, man? How are you, sir?
Good. Can you hear me all right? My internet's not the best.
I can hear you just fine. If you have any issues, just turn off your video and your audio should be just fine. But you're good now.
Okay, great. Well, my name's Sandro. I'm down in the RGV doing virtual wholesaling in Dallas, Fort Worth, and I'd like to get into San Antonio as soon as Privy gets the MLS access there. I've been having really good luck reaching out to buyers on Privy, and I'm just wondering how many is a good number to hit before you start submitting offers, because I don't want to use finding buyers as a means of procrastinating and avoiding submitting offers.
Good on you. If you have one or two, that's plenty to start with. You know, if you know what they're looking for, start looking for those and submitting offers. The most important thing here is submitting offers. That's the number that we're trying to get the most of. And if you get something under contract that you've run numbers, feel like I'm repeating myself, but I don't mind doing that. If you have run your numbers and you're buying and you factor in all the rehab costs and holding costs and assignment costs and the profit that the end buyer wants to make when they're fixing and flipping and all that stuff, and you feel like you've got a great deal, but you don't have a buyer, man, put that thing into contract and hit me up and I will be happy to help you move that. Yeah, the
Awesome.
goal is get those offers in. Okay?
Great. Thank you.
If you need help in San Antonio, or I mean, all of Dallas, all of San Antonio, all of Houston, we have contact there. There's sub two people there who I can point you to. If there's something I can't take down myself or I don't have an answer to, sub two's got lots of people who are super smart. I'm not the smartest cookie there. Just because I have a Zoom doesn't mean I'm the smartest cookie there. There's lots of people there who know what they're doing way better than me. I just happen to have stepped up and I'm trying to do the best I can. But I'm happy to help. My Instagram, IG, Facebook handle is right there. My phone number's right there. I'm not really good on the phone, answering text messages all the time because I get a ton of stuff coming through. But if you Facebook Messenger me, typically Facebook Messenger is the best way to reach me, or Instagram. I try to get to those the quickest I can.
Great. Thanks, Rob.
Okay? Yes, sir. I appreciate you coming out, man. Good to meet you. Good to see you here. If anybody else has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. We're kind of getting close to 2 hours here. I see all of my lovely friends here. Thank you guys all for coming out. Again, sign up for Elephant Challenge if you haven't already. It is next week. Starting next week, 27, 28, 29, 30. Pace is throwing in a Sunday extra Zoom, I think. So sign up there. We talked about comping, we talked about submitting offers, all that stuff. You guys put in those offers, start making progress on that, start getting those numbers up. 5 offers a day would be awesome if you can do that. But if you can't do 5, if you can only do 1 offer, that's a great start. If you've been doing 0 and now you're doing 1 offer a day, good on you. You're taking action, you're improving, and that's what this is all about, right? Elephant Challenge isn't how do we build the biggest business. It's how do we get those first few offers in? How do we get those first few deals so we can learn the process, right? We talked about the various components of wholesaling real estate, dispo strategies, acquisition, talking to agents, all those little things. And eventually the hope is that you find what you like doing best, you find what you're good at, and then you find other people to squad up with and make a good team and get some deals done, right? That's the goal. That's why we're here. With that said, thank you all for coming out. I appreciate you all for hanging in with me, for coming out every Tuesday. I will see you all next Tuesday again. And then I believe after that, yeah, it's Elephant Challenge next week. And I will be here again following that Tuesday. So we're going to keep doing this every Tuesday, probably through the end of the year, is what we're talking about. Okay? Everybody have a great night. I appreciate all your thanks and all that stuff. Oh, I did forget to mention one thing. If you guys want to follow up, if you guys want to see this again, I post them in my personal YouTube. So if you go on my YouTube channel, right now there's only like, I can't remember how many, I think this is elephant number 4 that I've done. But there's only 4 videos there, but I'm trying to start that up and trying to make it an extra resource for everybody. So my personal YouTube is there. These replays are in my personal YouTube. Okay. Thank you all. Love you guys all. See you guys next week and see you in the Elephant Challenge. Go make some offers. Go make some wins. Have a good night.